bunny, not funny. Time to grind out some bunny burgers, 'cause you don't know Jack Rabbit. Jack Rabbit, I made it funny. Jack Rabbit.
I'd like to... What is taking so long?
I'm doing the best that I can. Have you ever tried to hotwire a spaceship?
There is no Tycoon Ace!
A Jazz Jackrabbit reference in a PlayStation 1 game? What the fuck? I mean, okay, maybe that wasn't necessarily a reference to Jazz Jackrabbit, but anyway, welcome back to the finale, actually, the final episode of the Jumping Flash saga, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, duology, duo, something. Basically, we're done with the game at this point, with both of them, which is actually a shame, because these games are amazing, these two games, and even the third one's pretty good, although, again, I'm not the biggest fan of its structure. It's just that, you know, I don't care for mission-based stuff that much, and just the fact that you got these few environments, whatever, I've talked about that too much anyway. But the idea is that, wow, this is a really creative and cool-looking level. It's like a different take on the Carnival level from the first game. So anyway, yeah, I understand why there's not that many games of this kind, you know, I do find it difficult imagining in my head, like, how you would sustain this kind of gameplay style over a long series, because other gameplay styles do have, I don't know, I mean, like, maybe they could have implemented more linear platforming, and then maybe some more speed, or less speed, or, I don't fucking know, like, there's things you could have done, but, hey, you gotta focus on something else at some point, right? I mean, to be fair, I think the developers went on to do other things, right? I mean, hopefully they did, I'm not sure. I know that, I think a different set of developers made the third one, but it's basically like the first, like, they use the same engine and stuff. I'm not sure. I'm actually surprised that the engine that they developed back in, like, you know, 1994 pretty much was still being used at that time. It shows how well it holds up, because really it does. I mean, these games, as I'm going to conclude in my final thoughts, these games still hold up ridiculously well, and I recommend you, just anyone play them. You know, assuming that you don't mind the FOV not being too high, okay? So I'm sorry you're not going to be playing at 120 FOV, right? But, hey, you know, it kind of still works because of the cockpit sort of thing going on. Oh wow, I might actually die from damage in a 3D platformer. That's never happened in the history of humanity. Because you always die from the bottomless pits first, of course. So let's see, how are we going to traverse this area? This is actually just, it's such a cool looking stage. It really is. The art assets are very distinct. Just everything about it, you know, it's I don't know if, I think I still like the Carnival level from the first game more. But this is a great little take on a similar idea. And you got these conveyor belts, which I'm assuming are only one way. Yeah, they're only one way. But this is fun. Look at this. You get on it, and it's like a roller coaster. It's actually an expansion upon that idea from the original game. So let's see if we can... there's a Mumu right there, so let's see if we can get to it. It's going to be a little tricky. We're going to have to do some actual platforming in this 3D platformer. Every time I say platformer, I have to break out into the fucking Bubsy voice for some reason. It's like, what would a platform be about the platforms? A platform be about the... Yes, you are very good at speaking human. Fuck, what else do I say, man? It's just things that happen when you talk, and you just don't care anymore. Damn, I love the low poly look. It's so weird, because at the same time, it's such a cliche, because it's all low poly retro aesthetic, but at the same time, it's like... I don't know, it's cool. It's easy to scale. I think that's the main thing. I feel like a lot of games from this era have actually maintained their appeal more, just because when you upscale it in the emulator or something, I'm doing this because I'm pretty sure that I saw a health pickup there. There is no health, no. You don't have as many blanks to fill. No, remember, because you have more blanks to fill in, if that makes sense. It's just the shapes are simpler, so they look better this way. You know, like if I were to, for example, when I'm playing Max Payne, as I said I would on PS2, I'm not going to be scaling it because it just kind of looks odd. I don't know, to have that kind of detail, or I guess lack of detail sometimes, blown up to a higher resolution, and it doesn't really do the game any favors visually, whereas here, you don't lose anything. There is nothing lost from turning up the resolution here. It's all just so crisp and sharp and not detailed. That's the thing, it's not detailed, and that's why it looks so good still. You know, it's not revealing any of, developers should have made sure to have this texture look better. Even though that game has a very clever mip mapping technique, there are some textures, especially a lot of the text, and that actually looks really good up close. You know, like when you move the camera in a certain way. There was like this emergency exit text or something like that I found in the game where when I moved away, right, it got all blurry, but once I got up close, it was like crystal clear, you know? Even at the default resolution. So, yes, of course, sharp objects, they tend to hurt you when you step on them. That's generally what happens. Grab the dude. They started placing them in a lot more, what would you call it? In the kind of locations that are a little bit just trickier to grab, you know, that actually move and stuff and require some platforming finesse. And I don't know why it took them 2 games to get to that point, but no, it's because the original was just such an early example of what it was that I feel like if they had made it too challenging, it would have been totally alienating and no one would want to fucking play it. Oh wow, not only are you invincible, but like you actually have you know, that Mario style, you damage everything upon touch. Where the hell are the rest of them? Okay, you definitely started hiding them in slightly more elaborate locations, as I just said 2 seconds ago. What's this say? Aloha Circus. Wait, but why Aloha? I guess this was back when he was still trying to take over the world or something, or, you know, create his own little resort area. Because the thing is, the guy, the main villain dude, he's no longer the main villain. It's this giant fucking candle man. I don't know, he looks weird. I'm not calling him a giant banana, but at the same time, it's like, wow, what else could he possibly be? I don't know. I wonder how those kind of character design sessions, like those sketches, go. Like, how does it become a thing? How does a person sit down and think, yes, I'm going to design a character that looks like that? Regardless, damn, that camera thing that happens here when you... Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm praising this game for being easy to play, but at the same time, these kind of platforming sections can be a little bit... Oh, that's adorable. The cards have these different textures on them. It's amazing. Oh, man. All right. For fuck's sake. Just land on the thing at this point. Come on, Jumping Flash. I mean, his name's just Robbit, I think. That's the whole point, except, you know, because he's a rabbit. What the fuck? I think the problem is that you have very little control over your... Yeah, no, you don't have any control over how quickly you descend. They added that in the third game as a default ability. As in, you can hit the triangle button in the new version of Robbit or whatever, or even though he's supposed to be like a weaker model, canonically, he will ground pound, basically. He'll stomp, right? But like instantly, there's no wind up. He instantly does it. So I think the Moo should be somewhere over here. That's number 2. God damn. They've made him a lot harder to find. That's a good thing generally, but it's just odd that they chose so late to ramp up the difficulty, because this is like the penultimate world to the second game. Also, is this beeping annoying you? Because well, actually, I haven't noticed it too much, but yeah, I'm low health, so obviously it's got a beep to let you know. Ooh, there's another Moo, that's good. Let's see if we can find some health, because it's not even so much for me. It doesn't bother me that much, because I can barely hear it anyway. But I acknowledge that it's there, and I don't want it to be bothering you guys. So maybe if I shoot some dudes, it'll eventually drop some health. Come on, I don't want coins. The coins are to score, and this was back when score apparently mattered, except it really doesn't. Bonus 2,000. Ooh. The year of the future. Because as we all know, the year 2000 is about 4 years away. No, I'm sorry. Except that it is kind of weird to think that at some point the year 2000 was... I mean, now it's like the year 3000, and a million years from now we're going to be thinking, wow, remember when we used to think the year 3000 was in the future, and it no longer is? Okay, but I still don't think the games should set themselves so close into the future, because... Okay, so, you know, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, that game was set in 2025. That game is set today, technically. By the time you're seeing this video. Not when I'm recording it, but when you're seeing it. Oops, Treyarch, I mean, To be fair, you'd think that maybe some of those ridiculous predictions that they made when it comes to technology and stuff have happened. I don't know. Can you climb walls using nano gloves or whatever? Maybe. Or probably not, actually. Oh, that bounces you way up. Why did it take me so long to realize? God, I want some fucking health right now just so it stops beeping. Okay, kill this dude. Drop some health. Come on, please. No, I don't want coins. I'm not playing Scott Pilgrim, and for some reason it's like the first thing that I associate those coins with. I mean, I guess River City Rampage. That game was actually... No, it was... Yeah, River City Rampage. I was thinking of Retro City Rampage. Although, I still feel like that's kind of a cop-out... Whoa, that looks really cool. They really should have called it something else. I don't know. I feel like it's a little too on the nose when it comes to the whole River City Rampage thing, because it's really not even that similar to the game. It's a top-down sort of GTA clone as opposed to a side-scrolling beat-em-up game. But either way, we're done with the stage. This one was actually quite the challenge. I've been recording for 10 minutes, and we're still on the first level of the two that we're playing. So got to give him credit for that. And now we got another boss. He's going to make a weird squishy animation. And try and figure out how to exist, because that, you know, it's weird when Avenged Sevenfold do an instrumental, and yes, I'm talking about exist, because I don't know, they're such a vocally driven band, but you forget that they're actually really good musicians. That's the crazy thing. It's like you listen to a song like Exist, and you're just like, oh fuck, wait, they can like play guitar really well. I mean, okay, first of all, it's not they. I mean, Zachy and Sin, right, and Brian. They're the guitar players. You know, Jimmy, R.I.P., he was the drummer, right? And bass man was Johnny Christ, the Lord and Savior. Then there was Brooks, who's like, and there was also who played drums on Hail to the King. Why do I have the name Aaron in my head? It was because Aaron Gillespie. Was it actually another Aaron? I know what he looks like, but I don't know. I have no idea what his name actually was. Was it Aaron, or was it... I don't know, I'm thinking of something else. Whatever. Bouncy ball fucking boss man. Easy. But yeah, it's just... Okay, there's plenty of moments in their songs when you pay it... when the fact that they're really good is brought to your attention, of course. Tons of their songs. It's just that, like, when it's an instrumental, you're really just focusing on that, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, maybe this is a sin in the metal community or something, but I sometimes skip some of the more technical parts just because it doesn't interest me. Like, okay, just going crazy with the guitar. It's just like, cool. Oh, cutscene time. I forgot. Sorry.
Here, bunny, 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 come to Papa. Time to wrap you up like a big bunny burrito. Hippity hoppity hippity hop kaboom!
I think the spaceship is all ready to go, Baron.
Listen, you, it better be, or I'll use you as my next footstool.
Atomic power to engines, turbines to thrusters.
Now we'll show that Robert who's who and what's what with the heroics.
Yippee-ki-yay, Kabuki!
Here we go!
Why is that glass breaking sound so fucking funny every single time? I think it's because when you get used to playing the first game, where that glass breaking sound isn't there, of course, and then you hear it here every single time, and it's just fucking hilarious. Because it comes out of nowhere, and it keeps coming every single time. And you know it's gonna happen, but it still sounds unexpected for some reason. Maybe just because glass breaking is just inherently funny in a slapstick sort of way. What was I talking about? The A7X, yeah, music. Cool. Well, basically, yeah, they shred like crazy, but you don't really pay attention to it until you get to the songs where that's like the focus, right? Oh, they do have very good melodic sensibilities. There's a reason why most people have heard of them, because there's more to their music than just guitar exercises, you know? Even though sometimes they can be a little up their own ass about, like, certain musical things, like in their breakdown videos. I'm just like, Brian, that's not a modulation. You can't call it a key change just because you played an odd chord function over this chord that's still in the key and you're going to the same place. You can't call it a modulation if you're going back to the same key that you're already in. Okay, basically Save Me, right? In the chorus, it does this thing called a dominant, a chord, but like they basically play the second scale degree of the chord when it's the free chord, which, if you know your music, you'll know that the free chord does not have a second scale degree. Well, it does, but it's flat, right? So they sing a B natural over that A chord, which just doesn't... It's weird, right? But it's not a modulation. That would imply that we're now in A or in some other key, but we're not. Ooh, you can flip the switch. That's really cool, actually. Does that serve any real purpose? Maybe not. I don't know. Where are the bonus stages in this anyway? So yeah, that's the point. So like, it's not really a modulation. You can't really call it that. Wow, I've only found 2 of them so far. As I said, the levels are getting more challenging. It only took until the end of the second game for that to happen, of course. So what do we do about this? I guess we jump on the spoon. There you go, jump on the spoon, and oh, we got a bonus stage. You know what? Fuck it. Let's take a break. Let's go to the bonus level. Dunk, and it still surprises me how quickly these load. I mean, this is a PS1 game. The early PS1 games were infamous for loading times. And yet, I guess because most of the assets are so small and they're already loaded in anyway, so I don't know. The benefit of something technical, I'm not sure. Like, how the fuck is Animal Well, this recent Metroidvania platformer, so small? It's only 40 megs. How? I'm gonna assume the music is like sequenced and plays in real time. It's not pre-recorded, because unless they've compressed the ever-living shit out of it, but that probably wouldn't slide in a modern game now, would it? You know, it's not a GBA game, right? And speaking of GBA, I think at this point, I don't know if you'll have seen the Focus on B on this weird GBA, but also on PS1 game called CT Special Forces Back to Hell. Actually, no, I'm playing the third one instead. Why the well, actually, it doesn't matter. The thumbnail that I've made is pretty generic, like it's universal. It can work for either of them. Fuck you, Too Slow. It was only one left. Shut up. Anyway, so now we're back here. Now let's see if we can figure out where to go. I mean, if I can find a free time, as it's called, or a time stop thingy, I'll be able to very easily find... Let's see, is this... No, it's just a weapon that I'm not probably only going to use for the boss fight, because that's generally how it works. You save them for the bosses. But look at this creative-ass environment. It's like, that's what I miss. I mean, not that I can't say I miss it, for one, because I didn't grow up with this. This is technically new to me. I've never seen this level before. And also because there's plenty of weird games today. In fact, games now are weirder than they've ever been, because it's so much, you know, anyone can make a game with, because the tools are just readily available. So there's nothing, because back then it was like, okay, you're gonna be making this game, we gotta publish this shit, we gotta advertise this shit. That's all money, right? And people's time. So we can't be spending that on something that potentially might be too weird for someone to ever enjoy. So this is still considered like normal by the standards of the time. Kind of. I mean, not really. Actually, most games were not this abstract and insane. Like jumping on fucking neon, jumping on the glow that you can see under cars in Need for Speed Underground. Yeah, that's pretty creative. But it's just that, you know, now games are just inherently weirder just because... Well, not AAA games, but what I mean is, you know, indie games and stuff, just because they don't have to be limited to... They don't have to be curated quite as carefully, I guess. You can just publish it yourself. You can, you know, YouTube, you can advertise it however you want, right? Like, if you're already a successful YouTuber, you pretty much don't have to do shit for your game to do well. You just make a game. It can be a totally shitty game, too, or even just get someone else to do it. And it'll do well just because people know who you are, right? It's simple. It's kind of the same thing with video games themselves. When they eventually become well-known enough, right? Pretty sure I just went... Yeah, I went back a little bit because I fell off the platform and I didn't want to waste time watching the death animation. So yeah, where was I now? So yeah, it's not just that. It's also just the fact that you don't have to find people with the skill set, because it's easy to acquire the skill set yourself. And hell, sometimes a game doesn't even require that particular skill set. You don't have to learn how to be a fucking C++ programmer or whatever. I mean, like, there is some scripting involved, but there's a lot of things you can do just by using the engine, because it's been catered to a simpler workflow, right? Like, anyone can make a game, and that's I think a beautiful thing, you know? It's not... I've never been a fan of the whole, like, oh, if it's too accessible, if it's too easy, it must just not be worth it, or, like, it's lowest common denominator. And to be fair, there are definitely instances of that. In fact, I find it's kind of the other way around. When it comes to things to consume rather than things to be made. So, like mobile games, for example, right? The people who make them are professionals in their field. People who make them are really good at what they do, but they make them for people who just don't give a shit about anything and just kind of want something to click a few times on their phone, and then they get sucked into it, and it's... I don't fucking get it. I've never been able to like mobile gaming. I mean, when I was like a kid, I was, oh yeah, cool, there's that one game that you played on your phone, and it was like... It had the graphics, or it had like this particular kind of gameplay, and some of them can be pretty creative sometimes, but for every one of those, there's like 20 million, you sit there and you wait, and then you click a thing, and it's fucking stupid. I don't know. Like, Zombie Road Trip's still good. That game is great, honestly. I love Zombie Road Trip. It's awesome. Not just because of the nostalgia, and because the retro music is so much better than the actual music in the game. It's not even funny. And it's coming from... I like metal a lot, but it's not good metal. Whereas the chiptune they have is really fucking good chiptune. Like that one piece of music. That's an insanely good little bit of melody writing right there. Love the rhythm to it as well. You know, it's actually kind of like, you know what it is? It's what was that fucking... It's a little bit like Metallic Madness. You know? Man. Sonic Mania is really cool. I like it a lot. So either way... Oh, god damn it. It's gonna do that same thing that the first game did, where the second level of the final world is actually a boss. So again, we're getting ripped off. Like, in reality, we're only getting one level and two bosses, which I imagine, like this one so far, they're all pathetically easy. Because as you can see right now, I'm not really putting in a whole lot of effort. And I've almost killed them. Like, you can tell they have more attacks and stuff, it's just that you deal with everyone so quickly, right? And, oh fuck, okay, that is actually draining my health quite fast though. But that's okay, I was just getting sloppy. I could just, you know, there you go, and just a little bit more shooting in the face. So glad you don't have to fucking, like, keep mashing the button, you can just rapid fire, like, you just hold it down. That's just how the game is designed. It's not even a macro, it's just how the game is. Don't ever make me not... I mean, okay, sometimes there is a genuinely valid gameplay reason as to why you wouldn't let the player rapid fire like that. But, as you can see, we're done with this boss, and now we're gonna get, I guess, another two-phase fight. That's what's gonna happen, right? Although, wait, there might be a cutscene right before that fight. I imagine there would be, like the last game. So, let's shut up for a little bit and see if there is one.
Let's do it.
No cutscene, huh? Wasn't there a cutscene in the first one? I think there was, it's just that now there isn't, and we're fighting the... Oh my god. The game doesn't regen your health? Wait. I'm confused now. Wait, hold on. Did I start with full health, but it just quickly drained? Or did the game not respawn me with full health? Did it just pull a fucking... Actually, quite irrelevant. Did it just pull a Max Payne on PS2? Because that game does that. I think the PC version does it too. I've never liked that. Just regen my health on the next point, okay? I survived this long, I should be able to survive a little longer. It's just, I don't understand that approach to game design, and now I'm probably gonna fucking die because I don't have any special weapons and I have, like, no health. And, I mean, of course, I can always do that thing called saving loading the state, but the problem is, that's risky, because there are certain times when you have to take damage. It's unavoidable, especially with these kind of controls. So it's like, fuck it, goodbye, cruel world, as he said. Now, where's that gonna spawn me? Here with full health. Okay, I gotta check in editing as to whether or not I actually started with full health and I just lost it really quickly, or if I genuinely just did not get my health back, because that is stupid. And no game should ever do that, except way too many games do that. Even games released decades later still fall into that trap, and I just don't understand it. Oh no, because look at that. Did I say oh woo? I meant oh look, but like my mouth didn't do that. When I respawned, I actually got a little extra power up. That's nice. It's a little bit of pity right there from the game. Good to see the games have been doing that since the mid-90s. You know, I thought it was like a recent thing, but no, actually games, they've been pitying you for your deaths for quite some time now. Hey, at least it's not gonna enable a fucking super guide mode or whatever it was called. Remember that in like the new Super Mario Bros. Games, and also I think it was in Mario Galaxy 2, or was it just 1? Or maybe it was in both, I don't know. But like if you die too many times, the game is like, you suck dick, just do it again. And I mean like, here, I'll do it for you, you know? I think Donkey Kong, was it Country Returns or Tropical Freeze? One or the other. Like, I think one of those games had like the Super Saiyan White Kong that just, you know, beat the levels for you as well. He kind of reminds me of that weird, like, glitched character from Knuckles Chaotix, which people have, like, appropriated into an actual character. I think he genuinely does look like a echidna from the comics. I think that's what it was. I have to watch that, who did a video on that anyway? I'm not sure, but you can look up, like, you know, Sonic, Knuckles Chaotix secret characters, Knuckles Chaotix glitches, because, you know, the whole point is if you somehow spawn in the characters you're not supposed to, right, that are selectable but they're not really in the game, technically, you get all these weird glitches going on, and that's fun, and people like to kind of let their imagination run wild. You know, I've always been a fan of that kind of content, of imagination, for fuck you. No, I'm gonna keep doing this. I've been a fan of the kind of content that requires you to use, that essentially leaves you thinking about these things, you know? Like with music, sometimes I love, like, looking up a song that, like, I know is fully complete, but finding, like, some bit of it that's, like, for example, like a recording of an old recording of a band where they only played, they played the whole song, but the guy filming it only recorded, like, the first few parts. And so you're just left wondering, what does the rest of the song sound like? Even though, of course, the song probably is fully recorded and such. It's just, I almost want to do that for some reason. Like, I want to release, like, a whole fucking set of songs that's not actually complete songs, just like bits and pieces, and they cut out at an abrupt time, you know? Not like they don't have any definitive looping point. They cut, like, mid-measure, mid-note, you know? Something like that. I think that would be really cool and conceptual and strange, and God, I sound so pretentious. But it's true, because I realized that no one seems to care about my music anyway. Might as well just do something weird. Plus, it means I don't actually have to go out of my way to write a full song, because that takes much more time. It doesn't take that much time, I guess. But still. Because you gotta have that balance of effort versus product, after all. That's why I'm doing Let's Plays. So, are we gonna have a cutscene? I think I might have to leave you guys with my final thoughts, like I always do, over the credit sequence, assuming that it plays.
Oh no! Now I'll lose my standing in the Pan Galactic Criminals Club.
Way to go, Robert! You sure kicked that, Space Green Pop!
With feet like yours, you'll definitely go places.
Ja, good butt kicking, Herr Horsenpfeffer. Why don't you stick around and have a cup of soda with us? Perhaps you'd like my Robert Smasher.
Let's hear it for our hero, Robert! Robin!
Will you all please be quiet? I cannot hear myself thinking.
And so we leave the story with the knowledge that no moose is bad moose. The intergalactic threat to good taste and steady real estate values, Captain Kabuki, has been duly humbled by Robert. He'll think twice before reaching out and touching a planet again. As far as his membership in the Pan-Galactic Criminals Club, well, let's just say that Kabuki's standing has been reduced to that of a disgruntled Regilian slugbat. And as for our hero, Robert is off to new adventures in a cosmos crazy enough to need a high-octane, multi-dimensional, heroic Robo-Bunny.
Ha! You overrated Humpty Dumpty! You're working for me now, see? No more solo bad guy stuff for you! We're teaming up to stomp that Robert once and for certain, and I don't want to hear no complaining out of your faces neither.
Oh, pooh.
And so Aloha's evil plan is thwarted. The cratered planet is rescued. The people are free to live in peace. Now our time is up. So long, everyone!
I can count on one hand the number of 3D games from the early to mid-90s I can still go back to with relatively little adjustment. Jumping Flash is absolutely one of those games. Its unique concept of being a first-person collectathon platformer with de-emphasized combat means that I'm not begging for a mouse and keyboard, since aiming is never really required. The automatic camera tilt also helps immensely with platforming, resulting in an effortless control scheme that still works even in the face of what we have now. I think I've done enough gushing over the presentation already, with its bold colors, simple shapes, and phenomenal music. The Jumping Flash games feel like an evolution of that low-poly Virtua aesthetic that was common on Sega's systems and arcade machines. There's just enough texture detail for things to feel in place, but nothing too rich as to clutter the image given the 240p resolution, up-resing notwithstanding. Structurally, things are kept simple, just 2 levels and a boss, but the open layout of most stages allows for a variety of ways to clear each one, not to mention the focused challenge-based bonus stages. There's never any downtime here, which works in tandem with the eccentric art style. I understand why we don't see Jumping Flash games anymore. The formula only has so much longevity, but as a quick burst of arcade action mixed with the structural conventions of the home console, this duo of games has quickly found a spot in my eyes as some of the most fun you can have on the PS1, assuming you're into this to begin with. Thanks for watching this double feature of BK Play, and I'll see you guys in the next one.